The gate of fire, why darkness chooses you before you choose the light. If you're watching this, it means something inside you has already been touched by the void. Not just the idea of darkness, but the living breath of it. You felt the silence that screams. You've stared into your mirror and seen something ancient looking back. You know there are forces in this world that don't care about your goals, your affirmations, or how often you meditate. There are forces that test your soul not to destroy you, but to reveal you. And if you are a dark chosen one, you were born to face them. Not just once, but again and again, until you become something that cannot be broken. This is not a metaphor. This is initiation. And it begins with the 7 hardest demonic tests no one talks about. The ones that you don't get to skip. The ones that determine if your power was just potential or if it's real. The first demonic test is called the shattering of illusion. It begins when everything you love turns to dust. Not because you did something wrong, but because the illusion was too weak to hold your real self. Relationships that once felt divine collapse. Spiritual teachers reveal their shadows. Your own beliefs begin to betray you. You start seeing the world as it is, not as you hoped it would be. And that hurts. It hurts in a way that no mantra can fix. But this is the necessary death. The version of you that depended on comfort, on clarity, on external validation, it has to die. Because the real you, the chosen you, doesn't need illusions to survive. You were built for truth. But truth, when it first arrives, feels like violence. So here's the question. When the world you built starts to burn, will you run back into the ashes or walk through the fire blindfolded, trusting that there's something greater on the other side? The second test is seduction by light. And this one is far more dangerous than darkness. Because once you've awakened, once you start feeling your power, people come. Opportunities come. You get offers from spiritual communities, mentors, maybe even fame. And all of it feels good. But underneath, there's a subtle compromise. A quiet surrender of your truth for approval. The distortion that says, you're powerful, but only if you play by our rules. This test doesn't arrive with demons. It arrives with praise. And if you're not careful, it turns you into a performer, a puppet, a light worker who's forgotten how to walk in the dark. The lesson here is brutal. Not all light is clean. And if you don't learn to discern the real from the fake, you'll become a slave to the very matrix you thought you escaped. So I ask you, are you choosing truth or attention? The third test is the isolation of truth. This is the desert phase, the silence phase. The part where you finally know who you are and no one around you can meet you there. Friends fall away. You outgrow your teachers. You see through systems and feel alone in your knowing. This is when most people break, because the ego craves connection. It wants to be mirrored, validated, seen. But the dark chosen ones, we're forged in the absence of reflection. We become mirrors to ourselves. And in that solitude, something unshakable begins to form, sovereignty. The kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that can walk into a room of noise and still hear its own heartbeat. The kind that cannot be manipulated. But to reach that level, you must pass through the loneliness that feels like death. And here's the spiritual cheat code. You are never truly alone when you become the one who sees yourself. The fourth demonic test is the return of the inner demon. You thought you healed it. You thought you buried it. That addiction, that jealousy, that rage, that shame, you thought it was gone. But it comes back not because you failed. It comes back because you're finally strong enough to face it without running. This time you don't try to kill it. You listen to it. You ask it what it needs. You hold it without judgment. And in doing so, you unlock a level of power that cannot be accessed through denial. Your demon becomes your guardian. Your fear becomes your fuel. But only if you stop trying to be pure. Purity is a lie. Integration is power. And if you can hug the part of you that once terrified you, you become a being that even spirits bow to. Because you've done what most humans never could, you became whole.